In this video, we'll take you around Lake Atitlan, show you some of the villages around the lake, some known and some unknown ones, what to do at each of these villages, where to stay, and to make sure that you get the most out of your stay around the lake. Show you where's the best places to live, where's the best places to eat, the best places to party, where you can work, and how to travel. Everything from tuk-tuks to boats to local handicraft, where to buy what and where to go. We wish we had this kind of a video before we visited Lake Atitlan, so come join us.
Hello and welcome from San Juan at Lake Atitlan in Guatemala. Now, if you heard of Lake Atitlan, it's surrounded by small villages, and San Juan is one such small village. And now San Juan can play two different roles in your travel trips. One is you can come visit from, if you're living in another village or a town by the lake, and you come here just to have a day spent over here. And the second thing is you can take this place as a stop from your busy tourist village hopping schedule and look to spend 2 or 3 days here, right? But as a tourist, 1 day is actually pretty good to spend over here, and we're going to tell you a few things that you can do here and how to make the best use of the time that you have in San Juan, right? Now, San Juan is known and is quite famous for its weaving, and the various women-led cooperatives that are around in the village itself are quite nice. And our recommendation is for you to actually try and visit one, if not two of them. You can go and see how the cotton is picked and how the cotton is woven and what inspires them. And a lot of them will use natural dyes, and they will show you some of these dyes as well. So definitely go and look at some of these cooperatives in San Juan. In the village, they're very close by. The whole village is actually 10 minutes walk from top to bottom and end to end. So there are 2 or 3 really nicely decorated streets. You have the streets of the umbrellas, which leads to the dock. You have the streets of the sombreros, which are the hats, and then next to it there's another street that's really nicely decorated. Lots of street art, lots of paintings. It's a there's a school in the center, so really nice vibe to walk. You can get to San Juan multiple ways. If you're living in a village close by, you can take a tuk-tuk or a boat. And if you're coming from Antigua, you can directly take a shuttle which starts at 9 o'clock and at 2 o'clock from Antigua and gets you to San Juan. It'll stop at San Pedro and maybe at San Marcos on the way. But there is a shuttle that will get you from Antigua. This is one of the things that we took some time for us to find out. But you can take a shuttle directly here. The second thing is there's also a small shop slash kind of chocolate making and history of the chocolate industry, so to speak, in the region tour. You can go and visit. It's free. The cooperatives are free as well, but the chocolate one is free. You can go, you can look at how chocolate's made, you can look at some chocolate bars and some other stuff, and you can look at buying them. Then once you've done this, of course, you're in coffee center, so you can go and have tons of coffee. For example, we had coffees at Maria's, which is a small little 2-table establishment. They do breakfast, brunch, and coffee. And if you're lucky, you'll get a table with a nice little side view of the lake, but very friendly people, and you can get great coffee that's roasted there. And if you want, you can even ask her if she has time, she'll show you how coffee is roasted and things like that. Then we also had some food at a place called Cafe Nativo, which is a really nice place, not in the center, but about a 2.5-minute walk, not that far, from the center. Great food. We had pancakes, avocado toasts, lots of great detail to the food that they were making, which was fantastic. I mean, for such a small town, the ambition level was incredible. It was so much fun. There was so much joy for me to watch these guys be so proud on the food they were making. And they had great coffee as well, so that's another place you can go. And we'll also put down some more spots that we visited. You can check them out. Most of the spots are catering towards tourists, but then you have some of these outliers which are quite nice. Of course, the village has all the fresh fruit stalls. You can get some nice cut fruit. You can look at different shops selling different things. You can come to the center and the most touristic kind of street and have a look at clothes and dresses and everything and anything that's done with weaving, and that's quite nice. But then if you have a little bit of an evening time to spend, then also by the water promenade next to the dock on both sides, you have small little cafes and bars with there are 2 stories high with great view of the sea, and you can go get a drink there. You can get beers and cocktails, quite reasonably priced actually, compared to Antigua. And also it's a great place to just sit down, watch the day go by. They were not that busy, which is such a shame, because the location was really good, but that was because it was maybe a Monday night. But we've been told that during the week, as the weekend gets closer, these places start filling up. So that's another thing that you can do, and you know, and finally just have a great time. Just like slow down, walk, like I said, just walk around the periphery of the town, and you'll kind of make your way from one end of the dock to the other end, and then up north, all the way around, and then back to square one. And finally, if you are also interested in some of these cooperatives, you also have the honey industry over here, so you can go and see how organic honey is made, and there are some like tours and stuff like that you can do. You can just walk into these shops and they'll tell you. You don't have to do an organized tour, so to speak, and that's also quite interesting. And you know, we got one of them just in front of us over here, overlooking the water. And additionally, San Juan is one of the closest villages to come up and see the sunrise across the various volcanoes around Lake Atitlan. And a lot of people will get you to go to the Indian Nose, which is over there, and is usually between a 2-hour to a 45-minute hike. Better still, in the description we'll put down this viewpoint where you can literally take a tuk-tuk and come up all the way here and just relax here. You can bring some snacks, you can make pancakes, and you can watch the sunrise up over the lake and the volcanoes. If you're not living in San Juan, or you're just coming to visit, you can take a boat or you can take a tour from other villages, which will bring you to this viewpoint or for the sunrise activity, and it's highly recommended. This particular viewpoint that we are going to mark, there's an entry fee of I think 5 or 10 or 20 quetzales, or you can take a tour which will be between 200 to 250 quetzales. But you don't really, I mean, there's not much to do in a tour. You come up, you have a look, and you're good to go. And now let's talk about San Pedro. San Pedro is one of the larger villages around Lake Atitlan, and it's usually the go-to place for most people visiting the lake. We've been here for the last 6 days or so, and we wanted to tell you a little bit about what to expect in San Pedro. Now, San Pedro has this reputation of being a party, kind of like a more hostels, youngsters coming out, nice kind of you know, party vibes kind of situation. But we've been here six days. We stayed in 2 different Airbnbs. We stayed on the touristy side of things, which is near the main dock, you know, the lanchas as they call it, the public lanchas, boats come in. We stayed close to over there, which has a lot of tourist bars. It's like the town center or the village center over there. And then we've stayed in what we call the residential part, the local part of town, which is where you have the schools, you have the churches, you have the petrol station, you know, you have generally life happening, and in between them you have the local market and things like that. So there's 2 very different parts of it, and you know, some of the facts about San Pedro is like, yes, it is known to be like a kind of a more hipster, more party capital of the lake. It's got 2 different launches or boat kind of ports. You can go to most of the villages through one of them, and then you can go to Santiago, which is a separate village, through the other port. It's got a good number of places to eat and to drink. The restaurant kind of variety is pretty good. You have everything from falafels to Italian. There's even Italian bakeries. You can get freshly baked croissants and panajachel. There's a lot of nice coffee places where you can get good locally roasted coffee, and you can also go to the market, which is kind of the very traditional market, and you can buy yourself fruits and vegetables and great fruit, great papayas, mangoes. There's a great juicing kind of culture, so you can find like these places where they will make you mix fruits and vegetable juices and stuff like that. So there's a lot of variety of food and drink available. You can get Indian, you can get Japanese, ramen, Chinese. There's only 1 or 2 of each kind, but they're pretty decent. You know, after spending your time in small villages, the variety is pretty big over here. So there's a lot more to do in San Pedro. From a tourist perspective, a lot of people come here to learn Spanish. There's Spanish schools where you can have full immersion for weeks, a month, to learn Spanish. There are a lot more hotels. There are a lot more shuttles that come to San Pedro. There's a lot more boats that go from San Pedro compared to some of the other villages. And I would say, like, between Panajachel and San Pedro, these are the two kind of capitals of, or the centers of things happening around the lake. Now, regarding the kind of the party vibe, we didn't really see the party vibe that much. I would say that I was surprised on the first few days, like the first 4 days that we were here, how quiet it was. And I think, you know, on the weekend as well, like on a Saturday night, we actually saw a lot of locals going out as well. And there was some celebration, some local festival which was happening as well. So there was a lot of vibe there, but it wasn't like a party vibe like you would find in Thailand or like anything like that. It was a very chill vibe. And we also saw a lot of, not only young, but a lot of older people here just chilling, going to bars and pubs, getting a drink, you know, and that was good to see. So I wouldn't say it's a party vibe, to be honest. I think it's a very chill and cool vibe. We've been working here remotely as well, and if you can find a great Airbnb like the one we're in currently, working is a pleasure. Like you can get up early in the morning, get your work done by 12 noon. You know, Europe time is up then. And then you'll have the whole day to go drink coffee, have some food, go look around, take a boat, go to the other villages. It's very, very efficient that way, and I think it really invigorates the experience. So working from here is definitely good. Now, internet across the lake is very sketchy. Nearly everybody uses a mobile phone internet, so they use a small router that connects to the mobile phone network. But there are some Airbnbs, like a current one, that has a fiber. And while you shouldn't expect like European size fast speed, but you're still getting 10 megabyte up and down, which is a great speed to have. So if you can get good internet, it's a great place to actually work from. It's also far easier to get tuk-tuks, and there's a flat fee of 5 quetzales per person. So if you're two, you pay 10, 3, 15 for pretty much anywhere to anywhere in the village. So if you're getting charged anything more, 10, 15, don't do it. If you want, you can leave a propina, which is a tip, or if you have lots of luggage and the tuk-tuk driver is helping you out, you can tip them additionally. But we've heard of like people being charged 75, 80 quetzales. Don't be that. You know, and the reason for that is not because you have the money, but one of the problems that when we spoke to locals is that when tourists come and they start paying over the amount, so like, you know, you're paying 10, 15 quetzales per person, you're okay doing that, then sooner or later the tuk-tuk drivers will start preferring tourists to locals, and locals will not get tuk-tuks then. So it's one of the reasons why we kind of advocate, like you agree. So you have like local noises like this. So one of the things that we often tell people is to agree the price, or just take a 10 quetzales or 5 quetzales note with you, the amount you need to pay, and just quietly pay to the tuk-tuk driver. If you want to tip a little bit more, tip a little bit more. But that's one of the reasons. So San Pedro, I think, is a great place to stay. Really calm, really beautiful views, lots to do, plenty of people to meet. There's a new influx of people coming all the time. Great local vibe. You can go for walks in the evening. You can get decent food. I don't know. I think I can't say much more about San Pedro, except come down. This is Panajachel, or as the locals call him, Pana, the largest town or village along the lake, but also has a fun fact with having 2 different ferry ports that serves this particular village or town. And we want to check out what we can do over here, what we can eat over here. Is it a day trip that you want to spend here, or you want to spend more time here? We're going to find that out today. We're going to look around the streets. We're going to try some food. We're going to just see how this compares with some of the other villages that we have been staying at and we'll be visiting. So we've been walking around Panajachel for most part of the day today. To get here, you can take one of the shuttles from Antigua. If you're coming to the lake area for the first time, you can get a shuttle to here, which seems to be quite a big town, and therefore a lot of the shuttles come here. Or you can take a boat from one of the other villages, and it should cost you between 15 to 25 quetzales. 25 from some of the further villages like San Pedro or San Marco or San Juan. Once you get here, we actually just roamed around the streets. It's a weekday, it's a Thursday, and I was quite surprised at how few people were there. A lot of the stalls were also not open, especially in the center near the ports. It was a very, lunch hour was very sparse and scarce, not many people around, and it made me wonder whether a lot more people come here in the evening. But that doesn't make any sense because the last boats leave here about 7:30 unless you take a private boat, which then begs the question, is the weekend the time to come here? So we don't know. So it seemed a bit quieter. It's much bigger, so there are a lot more cars. There's it's still a small village, so but it's a little bit more organized. There's a lot more shops. It was the first kind of village that we went in all of the lake area, kind of surrounding villages that actually had a Claro shop. It had like a Domino's and things like that, so it's a little bit more, let's say, mainstream. And you can walk around. There's still stalls selling small handicrafts and things like that. But overall, I don't know what there is to do. It seems like the vibe is pretty common. There's a lot of restaurants offering food and seafood and Guatemalan food, which after some time will become a bit repetitive, and but it still looks like worth coming out for a day. So for lunch, we decided to not really go for Guatemalan food. We decided that there was an Indian restaurant here that we wanted to try. It's called Delhi 6. Delhi 6 is actually the postcode for Old Town, Old Delhi, and a lot of Indians will kind of relate with it. The food was quite nice. It was packed. Firstly, I was astonished to see so many empty Guatemalan restaurants, and this Indian restaurant was just packed with people. Every table was full and people were just coming in and in. So obviously there's a huge demand. So if you're in one of the other villages and you think what you need to open, probably an Indian restaurant, I would have thought. The food was good, the service was nice, the drinks were excellent, but wasn't very particularly happy that they kind of added a non-optional surcharge, which is quite random. It's not even like it's 10%, it's just like 30 quetzales, 50 quetzales, whatever people feel like they want to add. For tourists, they just add it to the bill. I'm not a big fan of that, especially because the service is really good. I was going to tip roughly the same amount anyway. I just find it odd that they force you to do it, but obviously with the locals they don't. But the food was nice. We got 2 meals out of it, so we even took some food back, and we'll be eating that over the next day or so. And then from there you can actually come down. We decided to come down to this natural reserve, which is next to the town, and a tuk-tuk will cost you about 10 quetzales per person to come here. Entry is about 80 quetzales. That's 80. That's nearly 10 euros or $12. I think it's a bit steep for where it is and what it is, but I mean, if they're spending the money on the nature and preserving all of this, then okay. But you can come down to the beach. They have a private beach where you can swim. They have a changing space. That's not that well developed, the changing space and the showers, but you can come down and swim in the water if you so decide to. There's also a place for monkeys, a butterfly park, there's a restaurant, there's a terrace, there's a shop. It's attached to a hotel and some camping area. It's about, like I said, it's about a 5-minute tuk-tuk ride from the town. So they've tried to make it like a captive audience. If you haven't been to Lanque, this would probably be a nice place to come and connect with nature, do a couple of small hikes and trails, and then call it a night or call it a day and head back, take a boat, head back to where you're staying, or stay in Panajachel. Panajachel also seems like having a lot more, let's say, developed hotels and looks a little bit more nicer with respect to hotels, but that takes away some of the nature and the charm and the reason you come to Central America, I suppose. Santiago Atitlan, or Santiago as it's known over here, on the Lake Atitlan, is a little small village which is smaller than some of the other villages around here, and we just wanted to go there to check it out. If you're in San Pedro, to go to Santiago, you have to actually go from a different public embarkment or public boat launch area, a different dock, so to speak. The docks that take you to Panajachel and some of the other villages, San Juan, San Marcos, Santa Cruz, are all a different dock, and for Santiago you need to go to a different dock. And so we decided to go and see what's there to do in Santiago. It's a small village, again, the dock and the main street being the kind of the heart of it. But what's interesting about the village is that it has its own so-called saint, and his name is Maximon, and it's worth going to the village just for that. We went there for having some lunch, and then you have to find Maximon. So Maximon is their saint, and every year a different family gets to take care of Maximon. But also he's quite unlike any other kind of saint that you visit, because he likes all the vices. So if you want to go and get his blessings, you can normally take a pack of cigarettes, a cigar, some gin, some cognac, some any kind of alcohol, beer. And it's actually quite interesting going and seeing the ceremony that they perform, because people do actually arrive from various villages, from even outside the lake, to ask for various things, along with the tourists that go there as well. So as a tourist, it's really interesting to go there and see them perform the ceremonies. And you have Maximum got a hat on, he's got a cigarette, and they actually replenish his cigarette throughout the day. And then if you give him a gin or a cognac, they actually make him drink gin and cognac. And then as a kind of culmination of the ceremony, they drink beer to finish praying to him, so to speak. So that itself is quite an interesting event. And it's even more interesting because every year the location is changed, and most of the time you'll have these guides that will kind of meet you at the dock and say, I'll take you to Maximum. But the adventure is in trying to finding him yourself. And so you need to go through different Google reviews, find photographs, pick out and it's usually in a very small path that goes through another small path that goes through another small path. So it's a great day out. I mean, I wouldn't want to be there for more than a day, even though it looks like quite a charming village, unless you really want some downtime. But yeah, it was a great day. You take a boat there, but again, make sure you know which dock is responsible for boats to Santiago. Going there is a nice 15-20 minute boat ride. I don't know, 15 to 25 quetzales, depending on which boat guy you meet. And then you can, just spend the day lounging around over there, have some coffee, have some lunch, go say hi to Maximon. And of course, they have a market there as well, which you can go walk around if you want to buy some vegetables and mangoes and avocados and stuff like that. We bought some mangoes and some fruits, pretty reasonable, and make a day of it. So that's Santiago on Lake Atitlan. San Marcos on the lake. Now, San Marcos is one of the more well-known villages on the lake. It's still a bit small, but it's known to be a place to come for meditation, to come for yoga, for detoxing. It's like the self-detox destination on the lake. It's very vegan friendly, very gluten friendly. You have a lot of people who've gone there to either go and learn yoga, practice yoga, meditation, massages, the works. What is it like? So it's again quite a smaller village. It's well connected by shuttle, so it's one of the few villages along with San Pedro, Panajachel, There you can take a shuttle directly from Antigua and from Guatemala City, supposedly as well. So it's quite a big destination for a lot of tourists to come directly to take part in some of these retreats. We went there just for the day to just see the vibe, and it's quite interesting. What you get to the dock, you can get there by boat if you're staying in some of the other villages. Once you get to the dock, it's a really nice walk full of like different shops and bars and restaurants and little cafes and ice cream shops, etc. for about 5 to 8 minutes while you're walking, to kind of just look at what the locals do and things like that. There's also posters for meditation, for different rituals and ceremonies, and if that kind of thing is for you, then it's a very interesting place to be. Most people who are intrigued and interested and inspired by these kind of ceremonies, they will obviously try a few things, they will get recommendations, they will kind of understand which regions are good and which centers are nice. So you got to do that homework. But overall, it's still a pretty small village. If you're not coming there for detoxing, we couldn't really find much to do. It's a really good atmosphere for food and drink. There's some really nice hipster bakeries. You can get top-notch croissants and panachocolates, but for 2 and 3 euros or $3 or $4 each, which is still reasonable, but you can get that in Europe as well. But the food over there, you can, if you're a vegan, if you have vegetarian, gluten-free diet, that's the place to go. And of course, if you're into socializing and meeting people with similar interests into meditation and healing and stuff like that, you're going to feel right at home. The place is obviously quite popular. There's a lot of Airbnbs. There's also a couple of hotels that are all inclusive, so you go there, you pay something like 200 euros a day, and it includes all your food and all your yogas and meditations and ceremonies and things like that. So it could be a great place for you to completely let go and connect with yourself, or you could do that at another village like Santa Cruz, where you kind of can piecemeal it together, get a nice Airbnb, and then just read a book or write a book or do what you want to do. San Marcos is not going to be for everyone. It somehow doesn't have that authentic Guatemalan or authentic local feel to it. It's very westernized. So if you're looking for the westernized comforts, then go there. But if you're looking for authenticity, a little bit uniqueness, and maybe it's not the village for you to spend a lot of time at, you could probably spend a day, a couple of days there, maybe a night or something. But compared to some of the other villages like San Pedro, like San Juan, you might feel that it's too westernized, it's too awakened, so to speak. And that's it. That's San Marcos. Take a boat there, have a great day, and let us know if we've missed out on anything or if there's something else that we should know about San Marcos. We are in Santa Cruz, and this is our Airbnb. We're going to show you a little bit around here. You've got a bed that can possibly sleep 2 people with some storage, mosquito nets, globe, a nice bookshelf, space to keep your bags, place to wash our feet, a table to work, to eat. Come on. Here we got a nice sitting table, a sitting space, fully fledged kitchen, another bed to sleep on with mosquito nets, bathroom, shower with hot water, which is pretty nice perk to have over here. And check out the view. Santa Cruz is another small village, and one of the smaller of the villages, similar to Santiago. I feel it's actually smaller than Santiago as well. On the opposite side of San Pedro. We've been staying here for the last 2 or 3 nights, and we wanted to tell you a little bit about our Airbnb, about Santa Cruz itself, and what to do and why would you want to come here. So Santa Cruz We have an Airbnb which is overlooking the lake, and because it's such a small village, you have a very limited amount of places in Santa Cruz, and Santa Cruz is pretty remote. There are some Airbnbs and places to stay on the other side, on either side of it, but that makes them even more remote. So our suggestion is to stay in Santa Cruz or near Santa Cruz town as much as possible. From the port, you can take a tuk-tuk, and unlike other villages where you have the port and then you have a little main street that goes into, you know, a shopping district of sorts, here it's like the port, and then there's like a good, I don't know, a 10 to 15 minute pretty steep climb. So take a tuk-tuk to get to either Santa Cruz or to your Airbnb. This Airbnb is part of a mission that provides different kinds of artificial limbs to people who are amputees, and it's run by them. So it's actually a really nice Airbnb with a really great mission, really comfortable, beautiful views, great hot water, good internet, and because Santa Cruz is so isolated, it's probably one of the few places where you can just enjoy your Airbnb. So literally there's nothing to do, there's no TV, there's no bars. There's 3 restaurants maybe in the town that are open past 6 p.m. and that's it. So essentially, if you're coming here, it's really to get downtime, to really either work or, you know, write your book or just connect with yourself. And for that, this kind of vibe is perfect. And it's perfect because you still have the dock less than 5 minutes walk away. You still have boats coming all the time, and it's actually not very expensive, the whole, you know, the village and the Airbnb here. Having said that, if you're into the party vibe, this is not going to be it for you. One of the suggestions is, if you are going to come to Santa Cruz, come buy your groceries, buy some, you know, whatever you might need for sandwiches, for breakfast, some fruits, and come and just relax and enjoy the Airbnb. There's some coffee available. There's one coffee shop. There's maybe a couple of 2 or 3 restaurants for lunch and 2 restaurants for dinner, and that's it. But one other thing that you can do is there is Casa de Alicia. They actually do cooking classes, but also you can order food and they will come and deliver the food to your Airbnb or your hotel or your hostel or whatever. And really good food, really big portions, both Guatemalan and, you know, lasagnas and pasta and quiches, and home cooked food. So we ordered it yesterday. We ordered some lasagna and some quiche and some fruit pie for dessert, and everything was really good. We made like 2 meals out of it, and it's a bit of a change from the, you know, from the grilled barbecue rice and beans that you are going to be eating throughout. And also the convenience of it coming to your home is really nice. You can buy your beers from the shop, buy some snacks, and just like relax, watch the sunset, and listen to the waves. I think of all the Airbnbs we've stayed in, even the one in San Pedro, which was the closest to the water, this one is the quietest, is got a lot more, let's say, nature around it. So it's really peaceful. So that's Santa Cruz. It's not for everyone. If you're not happy with being on your own and just relaxing and, you know, sorting everything out on your own in your own Airbnb, then it's probably not the best place for you. But it's a great place to connect. It's a great place to chill out, and it's quiet, and it's a good stopover between all the other busy villages.
Vamos.
One thing that you have to do if you are in Guatemala, near Guatemala City, Antigua, or on the lake, and you're here on a Thursday or a Sunday, is to go to Chichi Market. Now it's called Chichi Market. The name of the full town is really long. I'm not gonna even try to mispronounce it, so we'll go by its name, Chichi Market. And Chichi Market is famous because it's one of the largest markets in Central America. And it happens every Thursday and every Sunday, and it's really popular amongst locals, and it's really popular amongst tourists as well, because it's an adventure. Getting there is an adventure, the market itself is an adventure, and of course it brings together a lot of people who are selling a lot of different kind of things. There are two ways to get there. You can decide to take the easy way, and which is basically book a tour. Tours go from Antigua, probably from Guatemala City, and from around the lake. From around the lake, it takes on average between 1.5 hours to 2 hours to get there. And from Antigua, I would suspect it will take another couple of hours, maybe 3 to 4 hours to get there. The market starts early in the morning, so it starts, I believe, close to around 7:30, but then can go on till like mid-afternoon when it kind of dies down slowly. Now, Chichi is also known for having multiple churches over there, so along with the market, it's actually a pretty good day out. The second way to go there, which is not through a tour, but is to actually take the public transport and be like a local. If you're around the lake, the first thing you need to do is to get to Panajachel. So you can take one of the first few boats in the morning and get to Pana, as they call it. And from Pana, it's literally a 4-minute walk to what they call the voluntary fire station or voluntary bomberos. And there you can take the chicken bus. And yes, it's a great adventure. It's a lot of fun to take the chicken bus from there via Solalu, Los Encuentros, and then from there you get to Chichi Market. Now, the kind of route for this is you need to take 2 chicken buses and a small shuttle. The chicken buses, if you don't know, are very typical buses of Central America. They're old U.S. school buses that after having spent 10 years serving the school district in the U.S. are not fit for school service because that's the law over there. Buses have to be 10 years or younger. They get sold off to individual drivers who drive them across the US, across to Mexico, down to Central America, and they use them for local buses over here. And it's an adventure because it's fun. These are super well decorated buses. Each one has their own personality, and you can use it to get to Chichi Market. To get to Chichi Market, like I said, you go from Panajachel to Solalu, which is one bus. It'll normally cost you between 3.5 to 5 quetzales. Then from Solalu to Los Encuentros, which is another 5 to 7.5 quetzales. And then from Los Encuentros, you take a shuttle, which is a shared minivan, all the way to Chichi. And they're literally instant. You get off one, ask the driver, he'll tell you where the next bus is. Get off the other, ask the driver, he'll tell you where the next one is. And you can make it in an hour and a half if you're really good at this, which we were, to make it an hour and a half to Chichi. Now at Chichi, it is like an overwhelming for the senses. It's like an overdrive. The sights, the sounds, it's crazy. If you're looking to buy some souvenirs, it's a great place to look for. Very typical Guatemalan textile and goods. You can also look at buying fruits and vegetables. You can look at buying meat, poultry, anything and everything that you can think of. The market also has regular shops and regular cafes because it's a regular town with restaurants and things like that as well. So it's not like this market that's set up, out in the open. It's actually a fully fledged town. So you can go there. And what we did was we went, got some coffee, then walked around, bought some souvenirs, had some lunch, picked up some mangoes, had some fruit, walked around a little bit more. There are 2 churches at either end of the market that you can walk by and walk into, get a bit of shelter, get a bit of calm environment, so to speak, and that's what we're doing. There are other things to see around there. It's famous for a cemetery at Chichi, but our suggestion is to try and spend most of your time at the market because that's what you come there for, and just soak it all in. Like, if you want to buy mangoes, want to buy avocados, want to buy fruits, want to try stuff, go ahead and do it. And once you've done that all, had your lunch, you do the whole trip in reverse. And that's really fun. It's really, really fun. For 2 people, it's about 150 quetzales going and coming, 75 quetzales per person just on public transport, which is actually not that bad, including the boats, because the boats are the most expensive. They're 25 each. But the market is fun. It's weird. It's crazy. I mean, I don't know what to expect from it. But we had a great time just looking at things. If you're in the area, you have to do it. You have to go to Chichi to see the sights and sounds and make your way back. So that's it. That's a bonus on one of the small towns, not on the lake, but a little bit away from the lake, but still worth going to.
Let's talk boats. It's a wild, wild west on the lake, and you can have different captains charging a different amount of money. And the ride quality, that differs as well. Mostly we had smooth boat rides, but there were occasions where inexperienced captains drove the boat really fast on bumpy waves, which was completely unnecessary. So make sure that you vocalize your disappointment if that's the case.